In today's news, Education Advisory Board receives new members: Eustace Boss Freeman, Sports Program Officer, and Ralston Grandfather Henry, Meet Manager, joins us live as we conclude another Interprimary School Sports 2021. Fans and family pay their last respects to the legendary horseman, that is Rodney Mileage Simmonds Sr. And we have our weekly arrest blotter from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force. All this and so much more when 284 News returns.
The win! Oh!
What the hell?
I'm freaking out!
Is time.
284 News.
Coming to you live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands.
What's poppin', what's really good, what's happening, what's up?
Davis has won it for the Lakers!
Welcome everybody. It's Friday, March 12th, 2021. A fantastic Friday to each and every one of you. I'm Ron Grant and you're watching 284 News out of Tortola in my paradise, the beautiful British Virgin Islands. Thanks so much for joining us. Beginning on the local scene, mourners gathered this afternoon at the Ellis Thomas Downs to pay their last respects to the legendary horseman, that is the one and only Rodney Mileage Simmonds of the Boys Stables, whose life was cut short under exclusive circumstances at his Threadfall home in Seacows Bay on Friday, February 5th, 2021. Now, the viewing for Simmonds took place earlier today at the Ellis Thomas Downs, an avenue fitting for a true horseman. Scores of family, friends, and most importantly, horse racing fans from the BVI, USVI, and US mainland came out in numbers to honor the horseman enthusiast. For decades, Simmonds had contributed significantly to the sport of horse racing and was always a key player amongst the local and regional sporting cycle. Now, not only did he compete, but he played an integral role in the development, maintaining of the sport in the BVI and USVI. Simmonds was always a key player, and he, along with his team of the Boys Stable, would use personal funds to contribute to make sure the track and paddock had simple essentials like restrooms and, of course, the resurfacing of the track, contributions you'd never hear about. While Simmonds had an introduction to horse racing through his father, the late Mark E. Simmonds, who contributed to the sport in various capacities, he developed his own love and passion for the sport from a very young age and competed at every level of the sport throughout his time as a horseman. His first horse was Mr. Wook, and he went on to own other prize-winning horses such as Leave It to Burn, Broken Home, Special Counsel, Chauvinist, Apollo Sky, East and Tap, Stevens, Got Better, among others. Now, Rodney loved to compete, said BVI Horse Owners Association President and longtime colleague, Mr. Lesmore Smith of Top Priority Stables, in an invited comment. He said, and I quote, "It was never personal. He just loved the sport. Rodney would buy a horse just so that we had horses to compete in our local horse race. He loved to win, but didn't have a problem accepting a loss. If he lost today, he would congratulate you and prepare for a comeback next time around." Who would travel? Never afraid to purchase a horse, he was never afraid to challenge a race or get involved in a race. Win or lose, he gave the people 100% sportsmanship every single time. In speaking to the significant loss to the sport, Smith said, and I quote, "Today's event at the Ellis Thomas Downs is a final tribute to the great Rodney Mileage Simmonds. The loss of mileage to horse racing is a tremendous loss, and horse racing will never be the same without him. Over the years, Simmonds also rallied for the passing of the Gaming Act, which he strongly believed to be the driving force to propel the sport and allow for greater investment among owners and fans. While the loss is tremendous to the Virgin Islands, both BVI and USVI, and of course the Caribbean region, it now requires a new generation of horsemen to take up the mantle in order to continue the legacy and livelihood of horse racing in the British Virgin Islands. The funeral service for Rodney Simmonds will be held tomorrow morning, Saturday, at 9 a.m. at the New Life Baptist Church in Duff's Bottom, with interment following at the Seacoast Bay Burial Grounds. In a recent Government Information Services release, it was announced that Minister for Education, Culture, Youth Affairs, Fisheries, and Sports has appointed new members to the Education Advisory Board following Cabinet's approval and acting, of course, in accordance with Section 3 of the Education Act 2004. Mr. Stacey Mathar and Mr. Kieron Todman were appointed as chairman and deputy chairman, respectively, following the inaugural meeting of the board. Other members included Dr. Arlene Smith-Thompson, Mrs. Doricia Scatliff Thomas, Mr. Willis Potter, Pastor Naaman Chowell, Miss Rochelle Lawrence, Miss Corrine George Massicott, Mr. Hilroy George, Mrs. Gracia Stevens, and Miss Tammy Henry. Now, the members of the advisory board were selected based on their various areas of expertise in accordance with Section 10 of the Education Act. Each member represents specific stakeholder groups within the territory of the Virgin Islands, ranging from the business community, technology, vocation, or business education, organizations concerned with educational options, parent-teacher associations, the religious community, tertiary education, the sister islands, and of course, the legal community. Now, the role of the Education Advisory Board is to advise the minister on matters such as connection with education as it thinks fit, respecting the performance of any of the minister's responsibilities or the exercise of his powers under the Act and regulations as the minister refers to it, and relating to the promotion of education as the minister refers to it. Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley said in an official comment, "It is my hope that the Education Advisory Board will catalyst the collaboration necessary among all stakeholders to catapult the education system to the next level. Members will serve for a period of 2 years. The Education Act is the governing legislation for education in the territory of the Virgin Islands. Section 10, number 1, authorizes the Minister for Education to establish a body to be called the Education Advisory Board. We continue to wish the Honorable Minister and the newly appointed board the very best as they continue to execute their duties. Viewers, still ahead, Royal Virgin Islands Police Force Weekly Arrest Blotter, and so much more. All this and more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Viewers, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. You're watching 284 News out of Tortola in the British Virgin Islands. Now on to our Royal Virgin Islands Police Force Weekly Arrest Blotter. Arrested and charged is Niting Baraki, 43, a native of India, residing in Parakeeta Bay for driving without a driver's license and driving without insurance. He was granted bail in the sum of $5,000. Arrested and charged is Kenron Baptiste, 33, a native of St. Vincent, residing in Purcell Estate for driving without a driver's license. He was granted bail in the sum of $5,000. Arrested and charged is Lovemore Manatma, 31, a native of Zimbabwe, who resides at West End for driving without a driver's license, granted bail in the amount of $3,000. Arrested and charged is Ronald Antoine, 22, of Greenland for driving an unlicensed vehicle, driving an uninsured vehicle, and the failing to stop at the sound of a police siren. He was granted bail in the amount of $5,000. Arrested and charged is Presley Duncan, 44, Brandywine Bay, for drunkenness when in charge of a motor vehicle, escaping lawful custody, and indecent language. He was granted bail in the sum of $10,000. Arrested and charged is Quadim Colwood, 20, for possession of a controlled drug. He was granted bail in the amount of $5,000 of no fixed address. Arrested and charged is a 17-year-old male of Parakeeta Bay for theft, granted bail in the amount of $2,500. Again, another 17-year-old male of Lower State arrested for theft and criminal damage. Arrested and charged Alexander Mills, 63, of Joes Hill for indecent assault, granted bail in the amount of $10,000. Arrested and charged is a 13-year-old male of Frenchman's Key, West End, for indecent assault, granted bail of no set amount. Arrested and charged is Earl Hazel, 23, of Boggess Bay, for assault occasioning actual bodily harm. He was granted bail in the sum of $5,000. Arrested and charged is Dwayne Marcel Lou Foy, 44, Bellevue, for refusing to give name and address, obscuring traffic, and resisting arrest, granted bail in the amount of $3,000. Mr. Dwight Callwood, arrested and charged, 41, of Boodoo Mountain, for keeping an unlicensed firearm. He was remanded. Arrested and charged is Pia King, 22, of Boodoo Mountain, for keeping an unlicensed firearm as well. Arrested and charged is Paul Hodge, 39, of Cane Garden Bay, for possession of a controlled drug with intent to supply. He was remanded. That is the very detailed arrest blotter received from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force. And now on the international scene, a very talked about story. Prince Williams has insisted Thursday that his family is not racist, as he became the first British royal to speak about the accusations of bigotry made by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, his brother and sister-in-law. William made the comments in response to questions shouted at him by reporters during a visit to an East London school. While members of the royal family often ignore such queries, William used the opportunity to address the explosive allegations that have rocked the monarchy, saying, "We're very much not a racist family," William, 38, said while his wife, Kate, walked by his side. Buckingham Palace is struggling to quiet criticism after Harry and Meghan allege that the Duchess was the victim of racism and the callous treatment during her time as a working member of the royal family. The palace tried to respond to the charges made during an interview with US TV host, the one and only Oprah Winfrey, with a 61-word statement that critics said was too late, too little, too late. William, second in line to the throne after his father, Prince Charles, made the comments during a visit to School 21 to mark students' return to classrooms following a national lockdown. Harry, 36, and Meghan, 39, walked away from the royal duties last year and moved to California, saying they wanted to escape the intrusive British media and live a normal life. Meghan, who is biracial, said to the interview that she was so isolated and miserable as working member of the royal family that she had suicidal thoughts. She also said Harry told her that members of the royal family had expressed concerns about the color of her baby's skin before the birth of her son, Archie. 36 hours after the comments were first aired, the palace issued a written statement in the name of Queen Elizabeth II, Harry's grandmother, which stated the whole family is saddened to learn the full extent of how challenging the last few years have been for Harry and Meghan. The palace said the issues raised, particularly that of race, are concerning. While some recollections may vary, they are taken very seriously and will be addressed by the family privately. Now, the allegations and the palace's response have torched off conversations around the world about racism, mental health, and even the relationships between Britain and its former colonies. The revelations stood in stark contrast to the hopes many had when Harry and Meghan wedded the glamorous former actress, and would have helped the monarchy really relate to young people in an increasingly multicultural nation. And William's brief remarks further disappointed comments like one said by author A Brown Baby, a memoir, race, family, and home. These are the daunting allegations, of course, that continues to rock the British monarchy. We'll continue to keep you posted. Viewers, it has been an exciting day of sports, interprimary sports, that is, in the British Virgin Islands. Joining us after this quick commercial break, we're going to talk all things sports and recap the day's headings. All this and more when 284 News returns.
The win! Oh!
What are the hell?
I'm freaking out!
His time.
284 News.
Coming to you live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands.
What's poppin', what's really good, what's happening, what's up?
Davis has won it for the Lakers!
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, son.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you? You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Viewers, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. You're watching 284 News out of Tortola in the BVI. We are now on the last leg, but today was a very, very exciting day for sports fans and students and teachers and principals all across the territory of the Virgin Islands. Once again, inter-primary sports day, another exciting day. Joining me today is Eustace Boss Freeman, sports program officer, and the one and only Ralston grandfather Henry, the meet director. Gentlemen, welcome and thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you very much.
Now, we have just completed another fantastic day of sports in the BVI. Let's recap a little bit. What worked and what perhaps didn't work for you when you recap the day's events of this really magnificent opportunity where students have been able to come and express their talents in sports. Tell us about it.
Thank you. Well, obviously we had to make a few adjustments to this year's sports. We had to minimize the numbers in order to have the sports and meet the protocols to have the sports. But I think it worked well. I think having just 8 athletes from each school enabled it to be a very exciting, straight to the point event, and I think it was well received by the general public.
Wonderful. And grandfather, from your perspective as the meet manager, director, how did things go today?
Well, it went smoothly. You know, one of the things is once I have boss and I have the manpower, it's going to run smoothly because we're going to put our heads together. We might agree to disagree, but we're going to make sure the best of it happens.
Speaking of agreeing to disagree, tell us about some of the stakeholders that are part of this event every year. Who are some of the people that worked with you behind the scenes to make this event possible?
Well, of course, the ministry in its entirety is a key factor in the whole organizing of the sports. And of course, our sponsors, such as 284 Media and many other sponsors that we have, enables this to happen. The principals, the schools, of course, the athletes. Yes. So it's a community effort to have it done. Yeah, to get it
now,
done.
who are some of the athletes based on last year? I know Mr. Tyreek Charles is definitely one of them. Who are some athletes that we got to keep our eyes on who continue to excel?
When you look at that, you got to look at, let's start from the younger ones coming up. We have Lil Prescott, DeCarrie Prescott, and you got Mackenzie Crab from Joyce Samuel, and you got Diamone Thomas, and
Navarro.
Navarro, And
quite a few.
Yeah, it got them there.
Okay, wonderful. Let's talk about COVID for a second. Of course, this has placed quite a tremendous halt on many of the activities that we would have usually enjoyed. Boss, you alluded to having to really tweak the program this year to meet protocols. How has COVID-19 and the global pandemic, that is, of course, affected the entire sports program overall?
Well, it has been tough. It has been tough, not only for here in the BVI, but the entire world. As you know, we have been forced to basically live a sedentary lifestyle, not being able to be as active as we would want to be. We at the Department of Youth and Sports have a mandate to make sure that we put out quality programs. And
yes,
during the COVID era, it's kind of tough to get the programs that you want. But I mean, like Grandfather said earlier, we always come together, put our heads together, and able to get things done in a safe manner. But it has been tough.
Okay. What are some of the programs, if you could share, that have still been able to really pass the test of time, if you want to put it that way? What are some of the programs that still continue under the sports program?
Well, fortunately, we have some very vigorous organizations here in the territory, such as athletic associations, football associations, softball, volleyball, who have continued doing what they can do on a smaller scale. And of course, the department has been assisting as much as we can in ensuring that these different programs are carried out.
Grandfather, I want to speak to the consistent training of athletes here in the territory because, believe it or not, some persons see events like the ones we put on today into primary and just think that it happens. But I want to speak to the holistic, consistent training that students would have to endure all year round in order to be successful. Can you speak to what that is like for some of the students?
Yeah, some of the students, we should say some, the younger ones, they have more rest. Primary school kids have a lot more rest period than those in high school. What we try to do with those in high school, try to prepare them going into college. Because getting into college, when from time you hit 7th grade, the NCAA college coaches, they start looking at you at that period. Because that 4 years fly by very fast.
Yes.
So you have to keep that training like every day, putting in those races and so forth, and it's hard, but like one coach say, we train 7 days a week to run a race for only 10 seconds.
Indeed. Quite a sacrifice, but I want to speak to gentlemen, the success of the sports program. We continue to see a number of young people shine and excel regionally and internationally. Speak to the importance of this program as a territory and what it does for students who really want to take sports in general seriously.
Well, right after the bat, I think it provides a great opportunity. It provides that opportunity to be able to further yourself, be an elite athlete at the end of the day. And we have quite a few elite athletes out there who are professional at whatever sport they're involved in, the sport and discipline that they're involved in. And of course, it gives you opportunity to get scholarship to, further your education, and then you have that decision whether you want to pursue that elite career or to come back home and be integrated back into the community. So sports in itself creates that avenue that might not be there elsewhere, if you don't have that ability to excel in sports.
Understood. Grandfather, I want you to speak to the parents and guardians of students in being on the front line, I would say, of interacting with students in the primary school. What exactly could parents and guardians do to really start to groom and support students in a much more cohesive way?
With that, they need to be there for them, bring them out, and I'm not just speaking on track in general. I'm speaking about every sport out there. Take them out the house, because athletics has a big number, but some of them might not be the track athlete, but they might be for other sport. And the parents say, let's get them out of the house, because with COVID-19, we were locked up for a long time. And we need to get them out there and get them going, because I always preach this to the smallest child I have. My dream for them is to go to college and get a college degree. If you want to quit the sport after, you quit the sport. But one thing you can say, Coach, I got my college degree.
And from a coach's perspective, what is perhaps one of the most gratifying moments for you as a coach?
Well, this afternoon or this evening is going to be happy for me once Rickard Brathwaite crossed that finish line first, because I can say I had him from time he was 5 years old.
Wow.
And to see him challenging for NCAA championship, be very history to be made.
Amazing.
That's I don't need nothing else for the rest of the night.
And after that, you good?
I good.
I understood. I can understand completely. Gentlemen, today's event could not have been possible, boss, like you mentioned, without the sponsorship of many companies. Of course, the event was live, covered live by our agency, 284 Media. But I want to speak to the village that raises or should be raising our children. Because it is very important that we understand that in order for not only sports to be effective, but in order for students to be successful, it still takes a village to raise a child. Can you speak to what is needed from a community standpoint in order to effectively push sports across the board in the British Virgin Islands?
Right. Well, first of all, I would just like to say, I think the community has been supporting as it pertains to sports. But I think there's always room for improvement. As simple as coming out to the different events, the different games, the different sporting events, just being there and being that support, that voice in the stands, that goes a long way as it pertains to being that village that would raise that child and nurture that sport. In addition to that, I think the business community has a great part to play as well. Naturally, finances are needed, resources are needed to get things done, and I would like to see it reach to the point where we have different business communities sponsoring different sports to the point that they don't have to worry about what they need. They have it covered. And you mentioned, Ollie, we have quite a few athletes right now in the international stage doing well. And I could only imagine how it would be if we had all the resources that we need. So again, the community has been doing good, but I would like to see a little bit more.
Awesome. Gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to commend you both, along with your team of hardworking professionals across the Ministry of Education and, of course, in our schools, the coaches, the parents and guardians who really came out today and made sure and ensured that we still had an inter-primary sports day, despite COVID taking its impact. I think many persons were somewhat surprised that these events still took place. So congratulations on a job well done. That's first of all. And moving forward, I'd like to really commend you and wish you the very best as you both continue to execute your duties to really ignite a sportsmanship spirit, continue to push students. I think it's remarkable that we have such a strong demographic of sport enthusiasts across the territory. You mentioned about soccer, football. It's not just athletics, but across the board, we have a number of sports enthusiasts who continue to come out and rally and make sporting in the BVI what it is. So congratulations and a job well done today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Viewers, that is all the time we have today for our news roundup. Be sure to follow us for daily updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Ron Grant. It's always a pleasure. I will see you on Monday morning as we deliver your daily dose of local, regional, and international content. That's Monday evening, not Monday morning. I'll be at work on Monday morning. However, we are so thankful for you to always tune in and give us your support. We're 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news right here on 284 Media. Happy Friday, everybody. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Bye-bye.